morning. I want to start by thanking all of you and a lot of people outside this room for welcoming me to Port Harcourt, to Nigeria. It's great to be here. So I also want to acknowledge the organizers of this event. It's amazing. And I can't name all of the people that I've met, but I think you all know one person who's been doing this for 10 years and deserves a round of applause, and that's Uche. So put your hands together for Uche. So he's back there. Make sure he can hear you. How many of you are founders? Excellent. How many of you are angels? Not so excellent. How many of you are going to become angels, you in the front row in the middle? Okay. So I'm not sure where to start. What do they say I'm going to talk about? I'm going to start by taking a step back and making sure that we're all talking about the same thing. What's an angel? What's a VC? What's PE? So I've been an angel for a long time, and I know I don't have wings. I've also been a VC, a venture capitalist. So as a venture capitalist, it's a business. I had other people's money, and I was investing their money. And my job was to make a profit on the investments. I had to make somewhat risky investments. It wasn't like investing in the European stock market, but I couldn't invest in super, super risky startups. Angels don't invest other people's money. They reach into their own pocket and they invest their own money. Some angels invest, millions of dollars. Some angels invest hundreds of dollars. You as the founders, you are the bricks of the foundation of the ecosystem of Nigeria. The growth of Nigeria is going to depend on all of you over the next year, 10 years, 100 years. You, the angels, you're the mortar that allow those bricks to have a strong foundation. We need both. And we need more than money for this to be successful. So, as an angel, what I do and what I see other angels do is when I make an investment, when I write a check to a founder, in my head, in my brain, I know that money is gone. Almost every check I've written, that startup didn't succeed. And that's okay, because that founder learned, and that founder went and did other things. Every check I write, in my heart, I believe in that founder. I believe that he or she will succeed. Hopefully in this startup that my money's in, but definitely as a founder in whatever ecosystem they're part of. I don't just write checks. And this is really important for those of you who are either angels or will become angels. I become their connector. I've been in Silicon Valley for long enough that I know a lot of people. When a founder calls and says, oh, we have a legal question, I say, I'm sending an email right now introducing you to my friend Jim, who's one of the best lawyers in Silicon Valley. When they need an introduction to a customer, when they need introductions to potential employees, when they need help figuring out who to partner with, the first people they call are their angels. And as an angel, I ping them from time to time. So it's, how's it going? What happened last month? What's blocking you? And something that you will hear from folks from Silicon Valley, how can I help you today? That's that's so much more important than the dollars. Obviously, they need the dollars because that's how they start. So if you don't have people like that, the angels who take huge risks and write checks from their hearts and spend their time and their energy helping founders grow, being mentors, being leaders of the ecosystem, then the VCs are not going to come in. The VCs, being business people, need to come in when the risk is a little lower, when there's a company, when there's customers, when there's revenue. They can't come in and say, I believe in you. That's not their job. But that's the next layer of this building we're putting together. So we've got the founders, we've got the angels, then we have VCs and PE, which comes even later, and government money. And sometimes government money does come in early, but they don't, let's be honest, they're not going to help you with connections and advice. That's what you need, folks like you. So for those of you who are angels or are thinking of becoming angels, it's a crazy thing to do. And somebody this morning said, Nigeria is on its way to greatness. That's why we're crazy. Crazy is a step on the way to greatness. I love that. So we're crazy. I've been stuck at crazy for a long time, and that's okay because I am getting a lot of energy and learning and pleasure from helping the next generation. Doing it alone is hard. I don't know anything about healthcare, so I've never made an investment in healthcare. But I'm part of different networks, both formal networks, you know, we have meetings and we have a website, and informal networks. My co-founder, Chris, who's stuck in Owerri, he and I are running the program that was mentioned at Emo Digital City for founders. He called me, I'm trying to think, before COVID, so it was 8 years ago. He goes, hey, Steve, I just heard about this startup I'm investing. I'm like, okay, I'll send a check. I didn't know the name of the company, I didn't know the founder, but I trust Chris. And likewise, I called Chris once and I said, hey, Chris, a company that just went through my accelerator is raising their pre-seed round. I'm in. He goes, so am I. Likewise, he didn't know anything about the company. So if I don't know anything about healthcare and you don't know anything about fintech, and you want to invest in lots of startups, and I do too, let's work together. Let's work together as people who trust one another, or let's work together in a network. I know there's a network in Southeast, there's a network in Emo. If there's not a network where you are, raise your hand and start it. There's people here in the audience who can help you get it started. I travel a lot. I travel too much. And people in Europe that I work with and in North America, they say, why do you keep going back to Nigeria? This is my third trip this year. I'll be back at least once, maybe twice more. And it's simple. You're the future. Africa is the future. Anybody who looks at any data can see that. In Africa, Nigeria is the future. I don't have to tell you that. You know that. The world right now is not a happy place. I feel obliged to apologize for the person that got elected to president of my country. He's making it a less happy place. Little politics. But we're going to need innovators to solve our problems. We're going to need founders like you. I don't believe that the founders who are going to solve today's world problems are in California. I think they're in places like Sendai, Japan, where I spent a week last month, or Yerevan, Armenia, or Port Harcourt. Somebody here is going to figure out how to make energy cleaner, not somebody in Palo Alto, California. So I'm here for selfish reasons. I have 2 children. I hope they soon have children. I worry about their futures, I really do. So selfishly, I'm coming here and doing what little I can to help you become tomorrow's innovators, to help you become the angels that help the innovators here. And without those bricks, without that glue, we're not going to have an ecosystem here. You need each other, we all need each other. And this is probably a very strange keynote because it's really from my heart. Help each other, provide each other whatever support you need, financial, connections, advice, honest criticism. In yesterday's pitches, I think I shocked somebody by being really honest. That was out of respect. We have a phrase in Silicon Valley, radical candor. When you really respect somebody, when you really love somebody and what they're doing, you tell them the honest truth. That doesn't make sense. People are not used to hearing that. But as angels and as fellow founders helping each other, you're responsible to be honest. This is a very quiet audience. I don't know if I went over my time. I should have looked when I started. And I have a feeling there might be a question or two. Does anyone?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Steve. And so from yesterday, I've heard you talk about this creating an ecosystem, a whole the cycle thing. Yes, that whole. Now, how do you galvanize that? How do you start that, especially in a place where you see other startups that are springing up and they are also trying to climb the ladder and, you know, get up there? But how do you start that? How do you galvanize that? Second question, I've met a few venture capitals. I've met other, I think 2 angel investors, and I've gotten a feedback like, we don't invest in manufacturing, right? And again, I'm sorry, I missed that. My name is Daniel, and I am the co-founder and chief executive of Power Labs Limited. So we manufacture clean energy products, right? So I've met these guys that say we don't invest in manufacturing. We're at the stage where we want a seed funding to expand, right? And so these guys go, we don't invest. So do I look forward to another angel or another VC, or I should just totally put that out and go out for investment on other, you know, platforms? Thank you.
Okay, I'll start with your second question. Thank you for your questions. You're here galvanizing. There were 2 parts to your questions. How do we galvanize? Be here. Each one of you, over the next month, tell 10 people about this. That's how you get it started. Each of you connect with 5 other people here that you don't know and ask how you can help them in the next month and 6 months and year. You are the galvanizers. You mentioned something about other startups and you're both trying to climb the ladder. It's not a one-person ladder. It's not a one-startup ladder. You have to switch your mental gear and say, we need to help each other. By helping each other, there's a saying, a rising tide lifts all boats. Help the tide come up. Don't try and pull other people down. Your second question, I don't know what stage you are. If you're in manufacturing and you're making physical goods, there are other ways of raising money at the very beginning. My colleague from the Bank of Industry was here yesterday. I know you spoke to him. There are angels who do care about manufacturing. You need to find them. Maybe you need to find people who have been successful in some sort of manufacturing or some sort of energy production, and explain to them why you're the future, and they should also help you with advice as well as money. Okay? Another question?
All right. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning again.
My name is Chidera. My name is I'm the co-founder and CEO of Kessing. At Kessing, we're building the easiest way to store and move records in Africa. So my question is regarding the new Startup Act. So I wanted to understand your perspective as regards startup incorporating in Delaware as in Nigeria. Because yesterday, before they mentioned it, I was speaking with my co-founder regarding us incorporating in Delaware because of foreign venture capitals and even some in Nigeria that request that you are incorporated in a different country. So as an angel, what is your perspective on that?
So I don't know if you want to be a Nigerian company, an African company, or a global company. If you have aspirations to be a global company, and if you have aspirations to raise capital from US VCs, then at some point you need to become a Delaware C Corp. It is what it is. I mean, there's long history of reasons for it, but most US VCs will only invest in Delaware corporations, US corporations. If you're going to be a Pan-Africa company, why bother? And I don't know the laws. I was just in Germany all of last week, and if you incorporate in Germany and then later become a Delaware C Corp, as a founder, you have an awful tax burden. I don't know if that's the case here. So, and as far as the Startup Act, I'm not an expert in what has been written and what's been passed. I do know that a lot of the states are starting to also replicate what was passed at the federal level, so that I'm hoping it's a good set of regulations and laws. I have to research more.
Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, good morning, Steve. Okay, yeah, my name is John Abai. I'm a founder and also run my family's business in Aba, where we're into importation of textile. My question is, I have access to a lot of businessmen in Aba who are probably into our business sector that we do, into fabrics, although, which is a family business that I run. I'm also a former tech founder where I fund an edutech and prop-tech company. I wanted to ask, my question is, try to set up an angel network, because these are people that sit on top of billions of naira in businesses. And what are the requirements? What are advice? What are the templates that I should use to be able to bring these people together so that most of them don't know about tech, but they have a lot of idle cash they can start to put into these young tech companies that will grow in the future?
So borrow from the folks who have already done it. Go online and search for, angel network agreements. Talk to Southeast Angel Network. That they've done it. So ask them, what is your governance structure? How often do you meet? How do you make decisions? And borrow it. They're not going to say, oh, it's ours, you can't have it, because the more angels, the better for the other angels. So talk to the people in Nigeria that are already doing it, already have angel networks, and ask them what's working. And ask them, okay, so that's your structure. What would you do differently now if you were starting over? And listen to what changes they might make and improve on what they did. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
For the amazing presentation, Steve. It was really from the heart, as you said. So I was there yesterday when you were, a judge at the startup presentations, and you were most times focused on telling most of the startups that are kind of confused about two product types to focus on one. So I wanted to ask, what about the concept whereby you are trying to build an incorporated, company that deals with different brands? But in my context, is more about building people who can manage those brands, not personally you yourself. And I also want to, if you can use Virgin Groups as an example. Virgin Groups by Richard Branson. So I don't know, how will you say...
Did Richard start with 5 brands or 1?
Started with 1.
Virgin Music.
Yes, Virgin Music.
I think
Okay.
your example is the answer. Start. So I've probably said this to more founders more times than anything else I've said. Focus. There was one company that has 3 people and they were solving 4 huge healthcare problems. I'm like, no, you'll be spread so thin that you won't succeed at any one of them. Focus. So focus on helping one person. Make sure that brand works. Then a second. Then you could do 2 more. And then you can build that portfolio. But at the beginning, you're not even sure that what you're doing is going to work. So doing it across 10 people or 10 brands, you're going to be making the same mistake 10 times. Focus on one, iterate quickly, make it work, and then replicate it.
Good afternoon. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sylvanus P. I'm a tech entrepreneur and a startup founder. I want to ask, what do angels investors look at in startups that are just starting?
Could you repeat the question?
Okay. My name is Sylvanus P.
Just the question.
Okay. What do angel investors look at when they are investing on startups?
What do I look at when I'm investing as an angel? Definitely not the technology. Typically not the product. Sometimes the solution and the customer, but probably 99.9% the founder. Do I believe in this person? Do I believe that they have the resilience, the passion to keep going? They're going to make mistakes. They're going to hit brick walls. Are they going to keep going? And are they coachable? Do they want my help or just my money? If they want just my money, I'll suggest that they go someplace, somebody with more money. But if they want help, and they'll listen to it, and I see that spark of passion, that's the kind of founder I invest in.
A very good morning, everyone. Good morning, Steve. John Best Uche is my name, called The Social Voice. Okay, I love your presentation very well. And my question is basically a follow-up of this last question. You rightly answered that you look out for, when you are investing, you're looking out for the person and not the product per se, not the problem or not the solution, but the person. And my question here is, if you're looking out for the person, how do you get to know, or how do you get to find out the resilience or find out the qualities in that person? If, in a case, okay, I'm here in Nigeria, and then you are, of course, maybe a US VC or angel, how do you get to find out for sure that this person is actually worth investing in? I know you want to talk about, investigation and all of that, but then how do you go about that? Thank you very much.
So
because people can be very nice online, perhaps. You've not seen the person. The person can appear really, angelic, in quote, all right? But then, deep down, not necessarily, a cool person. Just talk to us then about that.
It's a tough question. So I'm going to flip it around, and you as a founder, how do you find an angel who will trust you? And it's unlikely they're going to be 8,000 miles away. They're in this room. They're in this city. They're in Rivers State. They know you already. So the last check I wrote was to a founder. His name is Ope. And I wrote the check after he went through my accelerator, and I watched how he thought, and I watched how he listened, and I watched his passion. And between the time I wrote the check and now, he's changed what his business is, but he's still the Ope that I trust. Does that make sense? So I don't meet somebody and write a check. I know people, and I write them checks. So you need to find somebody who knows you and trusts you already. Or get start. The networking was wonderful to watch. Keep networking. It's not a one-time thing. Build your network, and the way to build your network is by giving, not by asking. What can I do for you? And then when you do need something, you don't even have to ask. You just say to your network, hey, I'm raising money, I'm looking for angels, and your network will give back to you.
Good morning. My name is Anthony. I'm the founder of Rapstech and also the founder of Chat2CV. So my question is, I'm also trying to kind of like build a founders network, because one thing I've noticed is that, especially I've seen it a lot back in Nsukka in Enugu, where I schooled, and I met a lot of people who had nice projects, but most times what I see is that we don't look at the business perspective. Right? We're all about technology. So I'm trying to also, build a network whereby people are able to see this aspect of the whole founding process. So, but the question now becomes, how do you get people to actually be interested in such a thing? Because now I'm not really offering them, maybe a pre-seed investment or anything just yet. So I'm just like trying to, gather people and share the knowledge. So how do you offer this value to these people? Because most people are just looking for, okay, who is going to give us money so we can build the technology?
How many people want to join his founder network? You ask. Look what Uche's done. You're all here because Uche has created a community. Ask people, what can I give you? It's not pre-seed funding. They'll say, oh, I need funding. Say, okay, what else can I give you? Do you want a speaker to talk about the Startup Act? Do you want to just get together for coffee or beer once a month and have somebody to say, this is so hard, I need help, or I just need to complain? I don't, ask them and do that. But I just saw a dozen hands come up. Make sure you get their names. So how many of you, again, are founders? How many of you are angels? How many of you are going to be angels? Okay. Write small checks to each other. Help each other. Again, angel is not just money. That's less important than the help.
Question to you is, how can you, with your network, help strengthen the angel community in Port Harcourt? And also, how can you help in building the pitching strategies and storytelling of founders? Because I sat at the room for a while, and one comment you made to a founder was, ditch your pitch deck and tell a story. And it's more like a tradition where they all just come with pitch decks and they are reading through it. And we know that telling the story easily connects with angels and VCs. So how can you help to do that, to ensure that they tell better stories about their product, which is one easy way to connect with angels?
Not about their product, about their customer.
Yes, about a customer.
And their customer's problem. So we're all natural storytellers. We're all natural story listeners. That's how we hear things. That's how we remember things. How can I help? So you know that I'll be spending a lot of time in Owerri.
Port Harcourt is just 3 hours from Owerri, so you can always sometime
the program that I'll be helping to run in Owerri is open to anybody in Africa. It's not just for Imo. It is at Imo Digital City, but it's for anyone who is interested in becoming a founder in Africa. You just have to get yourself there. Mid-November is the kickoff. There's a website to apply now.
Is there a residential for people?
No. That there's no dormitory or anything yet. But we're going to spend a year helping founders. And we're going to do this 3 times over the next few years. So it'll start with a 3-day, really intense session where a lot of it is about storytelling.
Oh, okay, you're going to teach about storytelling.
We're going to teach about how to be a founder. And you can't be a founder if you can't tell a story.
Stories.
And, so we're going to accept 100 people into the first 3 days. After the first 3 days, we're going to have another session a few weeks later for 40 of those for a full week. So you have to come back to Awaria if you're in that 40. And we're going to select a smaller number after that will work with virtually on Zoom and with local mentors here in Nigeria. At the end of it, a couple people or a couple startups, if they come out of the program, will come to Silicon Valley for a couple weeks of really intensive work and meeting people in the ecosystem there. So I didn't memorize the website, but if you search on Imo Digital City Founder Program, I'm sure you'll find the application. So that's my little part trying to help the ecosystem get going.
All right.
And again, it's in Owerri, it is at Imo Digital City, but it's open to everybody.
Thank you very much. Steve Adelman. Put your hands together for Steve. Thank you very much.